And happy Monday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kane, and it's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractors Show, as well as Atlas Roofing. Thank you guys, as always, for sponsoring our videos. So let's get right into our weather headlines. We do have a few areas that we're watching for the potential for severe weather today. All types of severe weather will be possible, so hail, wind, as well as some tornadoes. So we'll get into that in just a moment. And then as we get into tomorrow, those risks start to shift off to the east, with the Great Lakes being one of the main regions, as well as the southeast. And then we'll take a look ahead to see if there are any other systems worth watching. So yesterday we did have some activity across parts of the central United States. We had hail from basically parts of southern Nebraska all the way down to the Red River Valley. We're going to zoom in just a little bit here to see some of those areas. So again, we did have some hail going through near the Red River, so Wichita Falls, parts of your area got some hail. There was also a tornado west of Wichita Falls, and then some more activity here in parts of western Kansas, and again up into southwestern Nebraska. So taking a look at our current conditions across the country, that system that brought the severe weather across parts of the central U.S. is pushing it towards the east, bringing some showers and storms across the region from parts of Minnesota all the way down to eastern Texas and into Louisiana. Snow falling on the cold end of this system. So zooming into parts of the south, again, some heavier rain right now, as well as a storm or two. Nothing severe at this time. But as we get that heating of the day and that instability to build up, that chance of severe weather will start to increase for parts of the south. And then moving up to the north, you can see where that low is spinning in western Iowa. And we will be watching basically from Des Moines down to maybe as far south as KC for just some marginally severe hail, as well as wind and possibly a tornado or two here as we around that low pressure system. And then again, that heavier rain and then snow on the back end of that system. So zooming on out, taking a look at our temperatures ahead of this system, we have temperatures in the upper 50s, it's 56 in Atlanta, lower 60s from Charleston to Fort Wayne to Kansas City, and then to get behind this system and temperatures drop into the 20s and 30s. It's only 36 in Minneapolis and 23 in Denver. So you can see pretty clearly where that cold front is setting up. I kind of want to be in Miami right now where it's 75, but that's not going to happen. Taking a look at our dew points, pretty dry across most of the U.S. The exception is basically from Dallas to New Orleans, Miami, where dew points are in the upper 50s to mid 60s. St. Louis, you have a dew point of 49. So those higher dew points are pretty much set down here in the south, where elsewhere it is relatively dry. So taking a look at a few metro areas here in Oklahoma City, it's currently 51 and a bit warmer as you head to the northeast. It's 55 in Chandler. A few showers off to the east of Oklahoma City, impacting Tulsa right now, we're at 61. Moving on down south to the DFW area, a little bit warmer. Temperatures are in the low 60s to even 65 here in Fort Worth, 67 in Decatur. Moving on down into the Austin area, upper 60s to lower 70s here for you guys. And then lastly here In Houston, we do have some showers and storms moving on through. Again, nothing severe at this time. 73 in Galveston and 74 in Houston. And then lastly, here is Denver, completely different. It is chilly. We have temperatures in the upper teens to lower 20s for you guys, as well as some snow falling. It's spring, but it's still, Colorado. You guys will be dealing with the white stuff for, the next few weeks, possibly still. It's pretty typical for this time of the year. And now taking a look at our forecast dew points. Again, most of the country is really dry. You can see those browns. But then as we go into the south, where we're starting to see those middle to dark greens, that's where that moisture is set. And that moisture is what's going to be needed for that storm development. So Memphis down to New Orleans, westward across near the Texas-Louisiana border, eastward into Mississippi, Alabama. Again, that's where that moisture is setting up. And then as we get into tomorrow morning, that moisture pushes off to the east. And with that storm at risk for tomorrow will push off to the east as well. But you can see we do have some light coloration of greens up in the Great Lakes region. So we'll be watching you guys up in the Great Lakes, Detroit, all the way down to Indianapolis, the potential of some severe weather, mostly in the way of wind as we get into tomorrow. And then getting into Wednesday, still some moisture left over for parts of the southeast. We'll see if there's any instability left for storms for Wednesday. We've got to get through the next few days first. Then you can see once we get through Thursday or Wednesday and getting into Thursday, that moisture is still around the southeast, but the rest of the country looks pretty dry. So here's our instability for the next 24 to 36 hours. We do have some associated with the low pressure itself in Iowa down into northern Missouri. So there is a chance for some severe weather associated with the low itself there. And then another area down here in the south from eastern Texas into Louisiana, parts of Arkansas. As we get into the rest of the day, you can see those colors start to increase a little bit. So more instability is expected to develop here in both of those areas, but especially in the south. Then we get into later on in the evening, we lose that instability in the north, but in the south, it's going to basically stick around through the overnight hours and slowly push its way to the east. And then getting into tomorrow, as that low pressure moves into the Great Lakes region, instability will help fire off a few storms from Michigan down into Indiana, as far south as parts of northern Kentucky. And basically, it'll just continue to push off to the east and weekend as we go throughout the day tomorrow evening and into the overnight hours on Wednesday. And then lastly, here is our significant tornado perimeter. There is a chance for tornadoes today in both of these areas, but especially here in the south. So as we are seeing right now, a low chance for tornadoes, but as we get into this evening, this is at 5 Central, those brighter colors here are showing that there is that potential for tornadic development. So just keep that in mind if you're in Louisiana, parts of western Mississippi at 5 p.m. If any storms do develop, there is that chance for tornadoes to develop. And then, yeah, you can see even brighter colors here getting into the reds as we get into later on this evening. So storms will be possible as we go through the evening and overnight hours. Make sure you have those plans in place. If storms do move through your area and it's dark and you won't be able to see anything, it's good to be safe then, sorry. But then as we get into tomorrow morning, those values start to drop off significantly. So I think the main chance today for tornadoes will be in Louisiana and Mississippi, parts of western Alabama. Again, just be prepared in case storms impact your areas later on today and into tonight. So taking a look at our future radar right now, we do have some storms moving on through parts of Arkansas, eastern Texas, as well as getting into Louisiana. As we get through the rest of the day, stopping it at 3 p.m., Little Rock, you can get some, possibly some gusty winds as we're expecting a line to form. And then along and ahead of that line, we can see some individual cells trying to pop up here in parts of southern Arkansas and then Louisiana. And then as we get into more of the heating of the day, that activity looks to fire up even more, pushing into Mississippi, western Tennessee. It looks like for the most part it's going to be quite windy. Some hail is possible if we can get those storms to stay isolated, but I think wind's going to be one of the main threats today, as well as a few tornadoes. So again, just keep that in mind. And then as we get into the overnight hours, Birmingham around 3 in the morning, you guys can see some gusty winds. And again, that tornado risk will still be there. And then as we get near daybreak, central Alabama, again, it will still be in the risk to see some gusty winds from this line as it continues to push off to the east. Then moving up into the north here, this is, I don't know why I have this for tomorrow, but yeah, this is for Chicago and Detroit for tomorrow. Some storms are possible there as we get into tomorrow afternoon and evening. I think I just put it in the wrong order, guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, tomorrow afternoon, kind of jumping ahead, there are storms that will be firing along and ahead of that cold front across the Great Lakes region. And just kind of going through the time zone here. Yeah, so that is that. So going back to today, because today is Monday and not Tuesday, we do have a few areas that we're going to be watching for some hail. The first area is here in Lafayette up into the Shreveport area. $1.25 size hail is possible there. And then another area from KC up to Des Moines, again, $1.25 size hail is possible. Low chance for hail today, you guys. The higher chances for the different modes of severe weather, it looks like it's going to be in the form of wind. So basically Shreveport, low chance for you guys. The better chance is going to be from the Jackson area down to Alexandria, maybe as far north as Little Rock as that line pushes off to the east. West Memphis, low chance for you, as well as New Orleans and into Mobile. And then a low chance for severe winds for any storms that develop associated with the low pressure system here in Kansas City northward to Des Moines. Then lastly, I mentioned tornadoes is a possibility today, and we do have that instability in place. So the best chances to see those tornadoes will be from Jackson to Alexandria, just a moderate chance, and then a low chance to see a tornado from Memphis, Little Rock down into the Shreveport area, and then New Orleans and Mobile. So again, just be prepared. This isn't to scare anyone. It's just to keep you informed. And then moving off to the north, there is that chance for a tornado from Kansas City northward to Des Moines. So now moving to Tuesday. This is tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Chicago. It looks like some storms will try to maybe form to the west of you guys. Doesn't look like anything very significant. There is a low end chance as that line pushes through to sea. Some marginally severe wind gusts, but then starting at 1 p.m. Central, so 2 p.m. Eastern, you can see those individual cells starting to fire up along and ahead of that cold front. And then getting into 4 p.m. Central, so 5 p.m. Eastern, Detroit, Ann Arbor, down to the Indianapolis area, you guys can see the potential for some gusty winds as this line pushes off to the east as we get into tomorrow afternoon and evening hours. And as we get into tomorrow night and into Wednesday, you can see that line starts to fall apart as we lose that instability in the heating of the day. And then getting into the south for tomorrow morning, that line will continue to push off to the east. Birmingham should be in the clear in terms of severe weather by tomorrow morning. But Atlanta, all the way down to the Florida Panhandle, be on the look out for those storms to move on through. This is at 3 p.m. Central tomorrow, so 4 p.m. Eastern. Some cells look like they're going to try to form here and then start to move off to the east. And we could get some redevelopment later on tomorrow evening. But yeah, as we get into later on tomorrow night, a lot of that will start to die off in terms of severe weather. We could continue to see storms, though, from South Carolina all the way down to southern Georgia and the panhandle of Florida as we go into the overnight hours on Tuesday into Wednesday. I think the severe weather potential by then, though, should be pretty minimal as we lose that instability. So getting into tomorrow's forecast, as of right now, I think it's just going to be wind. That could change, but for right now, we're just thinking wind. We're going to go to the northern risk first. So the Detroit area to Chicago, Indianapolis down to Louisville. We have a low risk for some gusty winds for any storms that do develop. And then again, a small area from Mobile to Tallahassee. This will be the best area to see those gusty winds tomorrow. And again, as we go throughout the day, tomorrow we will start to see that instability start to diminish a bit. So again, this is the best area that we'll be watching tomorrow for severe weather in the south. And then taking a look at our jet stream just to see if there's anything else coming our way. So this is the main system for today. Getting into tomorrow, you can see those winds aloft are pretty strong. So this will be feeding in moisture from the south and giving us that fuel for that severe weather. As we get into tomorrow, you can see a little short wave within the main trough moving into the Great Lakes region. So we could see some storms here again from Detroit all the way down to parts of Kentucky and then another area here in the south. Then that starts to move off to the east as we get into Wednesday, and it starts to lose some steam. So right now, we don't have any severe weather expected on Wednesday. That could change if anything does happen. It will be here in the far southeastern part of the U.S. We'll keep you updated as we get into tomorrow if there's anything possible on Wednesday. But right now, it looks like severe weather chances are low to none. And then as we get Wednesday into Thursday, you can see this next trough starts to move in from the Pacific, moving into the western part of the country. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go into the next few days to see if that does anything as it moves on shore eventually. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you follow us on Twitter or X, whatever the heck you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, as well as our TikTok page. Make sure you hit see first on Facebook so you don't miss any of our live videos. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can call us at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hailtrace.com. Check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. And if you want to do a demo with us to learn more about us and our products, you can scan that QR code above and it will get you all set up. But that's all that I have for you. All I have for you for now. You can tell it's Monday. I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.